Hi. How are you?
Look at you.
Oh, well, you know.
What you and Senator Warren created, all this craziness about cooking, and I'm so happy.
I'm so happy to see you, Jose. Thank you for everything you've been doing. It's so good to see you. And you were visiting the Navajo Nation recently, huh?
I went down there last week. I was there a few days. We have a good operation going.
Uh-huh.
We met with President Ness. I think good leader. Obviously, he has a big challenge ahead of him.
Yeah.
But he was very happy that he was able to test over 8, 9, 10% of the entire Navajo Nation population.
Right.
And actually, that's a lot of testing. I went with Sean Penn, who has helped create a network of testing sites, not only in Navajo Nation, but also in LA, in Chicago.
Yeah.
So here you have again Sean Penn coming with unbelievable leadership skills,
Yeah, he's wonderful.
like what we saw in Port-au-Prince.
Yes.
That in the middle of all the chaos, he was the one that created a city out of the rubble, all on his own, with his friends and the Haitian people. And I saw that because I was in Haiti at that time, cooking myself in other places.
Right. I remember that.
And the leadership of Sean Penn was amazing. And now I'm so happy that we are kind of doing this. I do the cooking, he does the testing, but we are in a lot of places together. And so Navajo Nation was great because I've never been, and it's wonderful people that they don't want our pity, they want our respect.
Of course, and dignity. They want to be treated with dignity, right? That's right. Yeah. What are you cooking?
You know, I love eggs, and I have I put eggs outside that I bought in the farmer's market here near where I live in Bethesda. They're amazing eggs. And an amazing butter.
Where's the farmer's market, Jose? Where's the farmer's market?
I used to go to the one in DuPont Circle, which is just a network of many farmers markets in Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland. But the one I go doesn't belong to that same network. Now I go closer to home in Bethesda. And it's an amazing market. And actually, I'm very proud because they were the first market probably all across America that they began doing social distancing right, making sure that people wait online outside to make sure the market was not crowded. So anyway, so I've been going every Sunday to support it.
I'll look for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you doing with the eggs?
Okay, I can do whatever you want me to do because I feel now challenged by senators making tuna melts better than chefs. Everybody cooks now, you know? It's like amazing.
But you and I have talked for years now about cooking together.
And
you know, alas, when this is over, we'll do it in person.
And you have a big, I mean, you're famous. I mean, you have a big reputation there as a chef.
No, I'm just a home cook. You're the cook at home.
Home cook is amazing. But I'm going to cook. I was thinking because I see you have there leeks and garlic.
You know what I have? Tofu, which I've not cooked a lot with, and I was hoping you could. I got it because we've been eating so much meat. I'm gonna make meatballs tomorrow probably. I took it out already, or I might make meatloaf. But I wanted to make tofu, and I was hoping you could give me some ideas.
Tofu.
I thought some ginger, some garlic. I usually mince a lot of ginger and garlic together, and I just keep it in the fridge, and I mix it in with things.
This is great. You are giving me a challenge to give you some recommendations on what to do with tofu, which is one ingredient I don't really like so much. Even and
I've never really cooked it.
I would love. I could call my friend Ming Tsai, this amazing chef from Boston, Chinese American, and obviously many Asians will know better than me what to do with tofu. But yeah, we can do a few things that will be very tasty. And it's good that people don't eat so much meat. Actually, you are right.
Right. I'm trying to kind of balance it all out. I make beans.
So
I make, Okay, tell me what you're doing with eggs. Let's talk about eggs.
I can do a simple omelette or fry eggs.
Yeah.
I have cans. This is not cheap, but you can do it with anything. This one is with sea urchin.
Oh.
And
Oh.
in pandemics and in emergencies, I say that the cans are the best thing to always have something in hand to feed your family. So even this is fancy because this is with sea urchin.
Right.
I have all types of cans: tuna, sardines, mackerel, smoked oysters. I will always tell people, if you have cans with you, you'll never go hungry.
True.
You'll never go hungry. So this is very fancy because it's sea urchin.
Yes.
But
which I've never cooked.
So I was thinking I can make some scrambled eggs with the uni, with the sea urchin.
Right.
But my mom used to make me this sweet omelette, which will be eggs and sugar that you will whisk, and you will make an omelette with sugar. You could add honey instead of the sugar.
Right.
And between you and me, that sweet egg omelette is something anybody can do. You'll never fail. You can always have a dessert in 1 minute. You can use any ice cream you have in the freezer. You know, those. Probably what we are discovering in this quarantine is that we all have bodies in our refrigerator, in our freezer, spices we never used for the last 20 years.
For sure. I found some of them in my spice drawer. Yes.
Things we kept in our freezer that we were like, what is doing this here? It's like new creatures that they look like foreign, outer space visitors. And for me, it's been this moment of almost using things that were forgotten. And the ingredients are telling me, thank you, Jose, for bringing us back to life. Thank you for giving us voice. Finally, we count again. Thank you.
Right, we're not expired.
Okay, so we start cooking?
I will start cooking, and then let's talk about our FEED Act, because you inspired a piece of legislation in the United States Senate that is a bipartisan piece of legislation that you and I talked about, but you inspired it. That is going to, if we can get it passed, mean that the federal government supports states in giving local restaurants grants to feed the hungry. And this, because of the conversation that you and I had, Jose, it became a reality. And so maybe while we're cooking, you can talk a little bit about the impact on small businesses these days. And I can share some information about how we're trying to support small businesses. But will you talk a little bit about restaurants and small businesses? And I'm gonna do my garlic and my ginger while you're talking.
So myself, I put myself at the heart of thinking about the humanitarian crisis we were going to be having. Right. That's why I began writing those op-eds on the New York Times and Washington Post, because I know you guys read them, and even what I'm very proud, and I will say this on both parties, that Senator, I'm very amazed how congressmen, how senators make themselves available to talk to a lot of people that may be bringing good ideas. Right. And I will say that I was very proud that in many areas, restaurants, we've been suffering like nobody. Many people have been suffering, obviously. But as a business, restaurants, almost every restaurant in America closed. So for me, I knew there was going to be a lot of unemployment.
Right.
And we need to understand that we have many people that when they say, but why people need help? It's people to this day, they still didn't receive their unemployment check. Right. And when you are a few weeks behind because the system is overwhelmed, you need to be supporting those people. So I began concentrating on the humanitarian food needs. And at the same time, many of my friends, I was part of it, but many of my friends, they created IRC, the Independent Restaurant Coalition, which I'm so proud because it was a good group of people people that you know, people that you don't know, people that are on national TV, people that are great leaders in the community, that we, like Tom Colicchio and others, that we can, Andrew Zimmern, which will be the faces more recognized, but then we have amazing people like Chef Pomeroy, this amazing, talented chef, and others. And we began saying, okay, we need help on the humanitarian side, food, and chefs, we should be part of the solution. And this is a lot to do with our FIT Act. But at the same time, we need to make sure that the White House and Congress supports small businesses of America to reopen. So when PPP was created, the payroll protection is great, but the idea happened quick. But we all understood that it requires changes. And right now, I know it's a lot of people trying to move forward on Congress and the Senate changes, so Secretary Munchkin can and the White House can support, which is to make sure that the aid they gave to small businesses, really we can use it by increasing the time that we can use those funds to diversify, not only on payroll or on lease, but giving the businesses the opportunity to use that money for the things that they think is the best use of the money, well for payroll or well for reopening. So I'm very happy that the Independent Restaurant Coalition is so active in bringing smart ideas. So you on the Hill, on the Senate, on the House, the White House, you can help the small restaurants of America to reopen again. That's what we want. I don't think America will be the same without the small businesses that makes America so awesome. And I do believe that we are going to require extra help even to we call it the stabilization fund, but we're going to need like a fund to reopen America again. And that's going to be second phase, I hope. But number one, making sure PPP helps restaurants like ours and small businesses better. Right now, it's not really helping us as much as everybody thought. And number two, making sure that we have some extra money to reopen, some cash. So the small restaurant that cannot go to a bank anymore because they cannot, that they have this extra push in the back to reopen, employing millions of people, as we know that our industry supports directly and indirectly.
So, you know, Ayanna Presley, who's in Massachusetts, she and I have a bill called Saving Our Streets. And it's $125 billion that will go to small businesses that have 10 and fewer employees, which so many of our small restaurants, that's exactly who they are. They're family-owned restaurants. They hire people from the community, and it would give them a grant of up to $250,000 so that they don't go under. And, you know, my experience is those are the restaurants where, you know, a kid from the neighborhood says, I need someone to sponsor me a softball game, and they say yes. Those are the businesses where, you know, you go in late at night after a hard day's work and you sit down and they know what you like to eat and they may sit at the table with you to make sure that you're okay and just check in. These are who we're talking about. And right now I'm looking at some numbers that, Jose, as many as 75% of these small restaurants, these independent restaurants, may close. No. And we have to save them. There's so much about not only the lifeblood of the community, they're literally about the culture of the community. They're about the heart of the community. Not to mention the fact that in their kitchens, they make it's magic is performed, right?
But Senator, I think everybody that is listening to us, they're listening to you, or your amazing followers, we need to remember one thing, that restaurants, more than 90% of every dollar people invest in a restaurant trickles down into the economy. That's why any support we give restaurants, especially smaller restaurants, and me, obviously, I see myself as a small owner-operator. It's true that I have my hands in more than 16 restaurants, but in every one I have different investors. Happens I have a management company that provides services to all of them. So I don't see really myself like a big company when we are big. I see ourselves a restaurant company that manages a lot of little restaurants. Or not so little, but I think it's great that we support especially the super small restaurants. I 100% agree with you. We need to do that. Obviously, also the middle-sized restaurants. We employ millions of employees altogether. But again, every dollar we invest in a restaurant trickles down all across our cities, all across our states, because we support farmers. We
That's
support oyster producers. We support cheese producers.
Yeah.
We support the guys doing the delivery. We support marketing and PR people. We support everywhere you see a restaurant.
Yeah.
You want to know that your dollar is actually helping the entire economy. That's the beauty about restaurants, that we are really creating community, because the money really goes all across and touches a lot of other small businesses. That's why it's so important to keep the DNA of restaurants in America intact, and that we help all the restaurants of America as possible reopen sooner rather than later, as soon as the health conditions allow us to do this safely.
And so as a leader in this fight and in the movement, you have always, and including now, dedicated yourself to making sure you feed the hungry. Right now, you probably heard 1 in 5 mothers, I think it's probably more than that, are describing their children who are under the age of 12 as being hungry. We are, without any question, in the midst of a hunger crisis in America. And can you talk a little bit about what you've been doing in terms of setting up facilities in your restaurants and in your kitchens, people who are among the now over 40 million who lost their jobs just in the last 100 days? Can you talk about that?
So before this began, we already had in America 35, 37 million Americans that they were on the edge of food insecurity.
Right.
That's why we have programs like SNAPs, as everyday Americans know as food stamps.
Right.
But this is an emergency. And number one, we need to recognize at the White House, at Congress, and I do believe Congress recognizes it, that we have a humanitarian hunger crisis. Yeah. In the moment you recognize it is when you start acting.
Right.
And we understand that we saw in the early days long lines in the food banks. I'm a big fan of Feeding America, the food banks of America, all the people running them, they're volunteers, they've done an amazing job. Sometimes they got help from the National Guards in some states. But we cannot be having long lines. We need to be having shorter lines and longer tables. Right. That means that in a food emergency, you need to diversify the ways that you provide the food relief to Americans.
Right.
It's not any different than a hurricane. If
right.
you diversify the way you provide food in a moment of need, you do it better. You do it much more strategically, and you bring everybody along. That means we need to be supporting Feeding America and food banks to make sure that they are able to provide these boxes that provide food for 1 week. Right. And the USDA actually passed this kind of farm to families, which is these boxes, which I think it's okay. It's been done okay. Even the execution is not being perfect, but I will not blame anybody. It's just that sometimes when you do a big program in the middle of an emergency, things are not as perfect as you want. But this is another initiative that is working. What we did, the FIT Act, right. World Central Kitchen, we put more than 1,800 restaurants to work across 35 right. states, making sure that the money we get donated by individuals is put at the service of putting the restaurants up to work, right. employing people, right. giving them hope. Nobody's going to get rich doing this. It's people that do it because they are big heart.
Yeah, they are
and
human.
They want to help.
They care.
And all of a sudden, 1,800 restaurants doing from 400 to 2,000 meals each, you are able to strategically provide food relief one city at a time in the areas that you really need it. The FIT Act will right. give governors and mayors the power to partner with FEMA and NGOs like ours to make sure that the federal government support the funding to take care of elderly homes, to take care of homeless shelters, to take care of nurses and doctors that they're going back to their hotel and nobody's providing meals, to take care of the National Guard if necessary, police sometimes that they are in the middle of this pandemic and they don't have anywhere to be fed, or firefighters. At the end of the day is, as you see, diversifying the possibilities by bringing the restaurants into the equation, yeah. because who better to feed America than the chefs of America? this is used smart. Is good policy that becomes good politics. The federal dollars are able to help the economy go back to work in the process of providing food relief.
That's right.
That's why I'm so proud that you and Senator Tim Scott came together in such a bipartisan way to make it happen. And we know with other senators on the Democrat and Republican side that hopefully will come, and this will be a bill that hopefully will pass Senate already after pass Congress with full support. And we are breaking bread in an important issue. Hunger, food shouldn't be political.
That's right.
Hunger should be about we the people, all the people. It's Republicans and Democrats alike suffering right now. Let's make sure that we show them that you guys, as you're doing, are coming together to make sure that we don't throw money at the problem, but we invest into the solution.
But and to your point, Jose, when a child is looking at their mother saying, "Mommy, I'm hungry," that child could care less who their mother voted for in the last election. This cannot be a partisan issue. It cannot be a partisan issue. And so I urge all the people watching, talk to your congressmen, your senators, call the FEED Act. It's bipartisan, and it's basically about supporting small restaurants and feeding the hungry. It's literally something that is going to benefit so many people who need that kind of support. What's happening with your eggs?
Okay, I am talking too much. So look at, I put Muscovado, I put sugar, which I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
I know it looks very fancy, but can be white sugar, can be demerara, can be brown sugar.
But honey is a good substitute for white sugar, I find.
And then I put it already with some butter, but you can do it with some oil, either way.
Yeah.
And then I'm making this omelette. And then what's happening is that the sugar is caramelizing with the eggs.
Okay, wait, tell me something about omelets. So there's different schools of thought about using the spatula and going over and over, or letting it, and I saw you did with the pan, just kind of letting it go, but not using a spatula. Which school do you subscribe to?
Listen to me. Number one is the French omelette. Yeah. And in America, we have the best.
Pepin, right? He had theories.
Which probably they copy from Spain, like everything, but that's fine. I don't want to create war right now. But we have the best French omelette master in the history of mankind in America. He's in Connecticut. His name is Jacques Pepin. And Jacques Pepin is a legendary chef, had a show on PBS for years with Julia Child.
Yes.
And Jacques Pepin is a friend. He gave my daughters 3 weeks ago a class about how to make the proper French omelette. He's a French omelette whisperer. He's a French omelette whisperer. Yeah. He makes French omelette without touching the French omelette.
I've watched the videos of him making them. It's extraordinary.
Then we have the other omelette that is becoming very Spanish, very important in America, which is the tortilla española, which is with potatoes and sometimes onions. Even is a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
On onions or no onions.
Yeah.
And the long story short is that this omelette now shows up in many menus across America, and I'm very happy. Tortilla española. But then is what people will call the scrambled eggs. I don't want anybody to get upset, but people that they say they are masters on the scrambled eggs is because they don't have a clue how to make a French omelette, period. But it's very good because you are adapting. If you don't know that you don't know how to make French omelette, you shouldn't recognize it. Don't show your weaknesses. It's okay to keep, but that's fine. You make a scrambled eggs. But the reality is that it's like sometimes when people, they tell you that they are making abstract art that you don't know if they do abstract because they cannot paint a face, or because they are so tired of painting good faces,
or because they're just not specific about anything.
Yeah, but I don't want to create controversy. We are in a bipartisan mode. Should be bipartisan. Life should be bipartisan. We should not just put the finger on the weaknesses of others, but making others better with our.
Delicious. Yes.
between you and me is suspicious. Who makes a scrambled eggs means they don't have a clue how to make a French omelette, but please keep it between us.
Okay, so is everyone watching what he's doing? He did.
Look, I'm talking to you and I'm burning.
Pan like this, and now he's lifting it out. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you gonna sprinkle anything on top? Oh, look at this.
In this moment, I have this caramelized, is gooey in the middle, is a little bit undercooked in the middle, sugary, crusty. Give me ice cream. And in this moment, you do this. You get some olive oil, because olive oil is good for you, and especially on desserts.
I agree.
Tell me this stuff. Then I see, because I want to see you finishing this. Oh my God, it disappeared. And then I have this ice cream, which is very hard.
What kind of ice cream? What kind of ice cream? Do you make
whatever I had. This one is sea salt caramel. Oh my God,
oh,
sea
that's my
salt.
favorite. Literally, that's my favorite. That's literally my favorite ice cream.
Sea salt caramel.
Of course, on a cake stand.
And I make a little hole right in the middle, and I put it right here. And now what's happening? That the ice cream caramel, which has
like
been sleeping in the freezer,
it's like a souffle.
but is waking up. And the ice cream is saying, hey, baby, what's going on? Why I feel so warm all of the sudden? Oh, and then the ice cream begins melting down and begins meeting the beautiful egg. And the egg is saying, wow, what is this cold body on top of me all of a sudden? Wow. And they are liking each other because one is hot, the other is cold, and they're saying, wow, why we waited for so long to be together? And they're like, yeah, boom.
Oh, it's actually a love story.
It is a love story. Okay, where's your tofu?
Now we're done.
It is a love story. What do you think?
Fantastic.
How is your tofu?
You know what? I chopped up, I did a pepper, I did some scallions. You know, this is one of my favorite things, is this little chopper. I did the garlic and ginger. You know, I use actually this thing to peel my garlic all the time, this tube. I just rolled it in there. So I threw it in. I'm going to then grind it. I won't do it now. And then I'll figure it out tonight. And then I'm going to slice up the tofu. I think I'll saute it and then maybe put some spinach in there too.
So you are only getting ready.
I don't know. I've really never cooked tofu, but again, I think we should eat a little less meat.
I'm gonna call my friend Ming Sai. I'm gonna tell him to send you a recipe.
Okay, call me then. Okay.
I'm making my fried eggs with sea urchin.
Okay. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you for having me.
I'll talk to you later. Mucho gusto. Thank you.
Free tax, Senator. Free tax. Good job.
Thank you.
Senator Scott, Senator Harris. Thank you.